I hate that I know it. I hate that you gave this to me. I'm mad at you. Okay,
I
you
mean,
should feel bad for yourself.
I don't. Now you're understanding my pain. Now you're understanding why I didn't give this movie as much as everybody else did, because they took a character that was a genuinely good, well written character and decided to tear him down even more than they had already done.
Yeah. All right. So eh, I think we said it best last episode was the idea that the baggage. I think the main thing. I think the biggest anchor of the MCU is the continuity.
Hmm.
Like if each movie was just standalone, like not new actors, same act. Can you have the same actors, right? But it's a different universe. Handle the story. You just go with it. I can deal with it. I could walk. You could walk out of Thunderbolts like, no, this is a different
Right.
U.S.
These
agent,
are all
right?
these characters are different,
They're different,
but they're not.
right? On this universe, this happened, this happened, right? Right? Same thing. I can walk into it, but it's the continuity going. That makes no sense. That make no sense. Also, like like that goofy thing that Falcon owns the right to Avengers. That'd have been if Peter Parker does his Riri Williams. Could have gone crap
Iron Man,
on Ironheart. Like,
Man.
whoa, that's my baby.
I got all these copyrights. What are you talking about? Hey, hey, Wakanda.
Right. You know,
Pay
and
up. You
yeah.
as a pay up. This is mine. Pay.
Yep. Yep. She-Hulk lawyer, like, we getting paid. We get paid. We get paid. Then you felt that's when the twerking happens because we're getting paid. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't apologize for letting you know the best character that the Marvel TV shows made on accident. That they made them. They weren't a pre-established character that they elevated to somewhere else. They made John Walker, made him super relatable and the best replacement
Yeah.
for Captain America, and then they just shat on him for no reason.
No reason. I had to go back watch speed clips of the original Captain America. I was like, well, maybe Steve never. I was like, no, so much murder. Oh, well, those are war murders. No, he literally punted someone that was on the ground, had no gun, defenseless, into the ocean. He is either dead or completely
or
traumatized or dying. Okay, because they never show they rescue the dude from the ocean. No one's gonna go into the ocean in the dark to go save this man.
Right. Well, I will
So
say
he's dead.
There are definitely some good characters, but they accidentally wrote this super sympathetic, great replacement for Captain America, great exactly everything they wanted him to be, but they like, nah, but he's not Bucky though, or he's not Falcon though.
If someone has a super soldier formula and takes a vibranium shield to your face and then punch the back of it, right? You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're freaking dead. You might as well just shot him.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
That dude is dead.
Yeah,
I threw the shield.
You scrambled his brains.
Right, yeah. And if he's not dead, instant CTE. Okay? All right? So you just made a CTE ticket time bomb somewhere else, okay?
You either killed him or he is shut down. You have shut his brain off.
Right. Yeah.
Don't worry. He's the butt of the joke, don't you know? It's funny. It's funny that they made him lose his wife and kid because he was sitting next to the crib and watching the kid, and she didn't think he was watching him good enough.
Oh my god. No. All right. Anyways, time for the intro. Tonight, Nintendo decides the best way to protect your Switch is to brick it. Palworld gets sued again, presumably for being fun without permission. And Rhinehold, well, he brought a topic. We don't know what it is. We're slightly afraid, and legal has already left the building. Welcome to Low Key, the only show where video game law meets complete and total nonsense, and somehow we're still allowed to stream it. Hi, I'm the moving target. He's Vincent, and the only man to read a EULA all the way through and survive, and that is Rhinehold, a man who believes chaos is content. So buckle up and boot up, and hope your console still works by the end of the night, because tonight we're talking lawsuits, legends, and whatever Rhinehold has planned. So let's get into it.
let's be fair. Rhinehold wrote the first EULA, so he went all the way through it because he wrote the first.
Yeah, and you got to understand everything because that EULA included every perpetuating EULA after the fact. So I own everything in perpetuity that anybody has ever signed.
Oh my
A
god!
lot of people don't know this yet, so I haven't really kind of made it too big of a deal. But yeah, I do own everything.
Actually, own the owns the copyright also to podcasting. He used to put information on clay candles and send it to clay pots, send it to people. Just run a needle on it. I'm sitting there with Cleopatra, like, that's nuts. Anyways, have you did DMT?
Just a little microdosing. It's fine. It's fine.
Sitting there with Cleopatra. So I just want to know if the rumors are true. Are the pyramids batteries? Okay, there's some water underneath it. But just water storage. Oh my god.
So Cleopatra.
Apparently, the pyramids were actually just a meme bank. A lot of people just don't realize that. Yeah, that's all the hieroglyphs were all it was just a meme bank storage for that.
Fire memes. Oh my god. Oh man, I do remember that. Like in the high school, it's like how can people communicate through hieroglyphics? Me having full on conversation in GIFs.
Yeah, GIFs, memes.
Yeah, like
emoji.
Yeah, emojis, full on conversations. And I'm not talking about like just through friends, through word. Described how something was broken. Yeah.
They're broken.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to the topics at hand. So, Palworld, which honestly, like with the first game, I would say I'm glad it's here. When the game first when you guys get talking about this goofy game, thought it was me. Thought it wouldn't never exist, wouldn't come to light, and pretty much just like there's no way this is going to be real. Right? I didn't believe it. I honestly would have put money down saying that it wouldn't. This thing ain't coming to fruition, or if it does, it's going to suck. And lo and behold, it's fun.
It's great.
Great game.
Spending a lot of time with it.
Yeah, and it's honestly like the only game that's made me think like, man, I want a Steam Deck because I just want to play that mobile.
You just run around.
I want to play. Yeah, it's the only game I've ever wanted to play that I play on PC that I want mobile.
That makes sense.
Well, satisfactory, but like that, I need a lot of hardware for that.
Like you need your 4 videos playing to show you how to layer these things correctly to make it work.
Well, especially with the new blueprints. But no, I think it's like freaking fun to go around, and I'm always like experiencing things and going stuff and out and playing. And it seems like Nintendo hates us having fun.
Okay, so we talked about this before, but Nintendo has filed several patents based off of their game Legends Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus, that would involve them having patents on being able to throw a capture sphere at something, and then you're allowed to throw it to make the monsters come out. And now, which caused Palworld to change how they interacted with their creatures that they called pals, which you would throw their spheres at to catch them, and then in combat you could throw them at a location and they will pop up wherever you throw them at.
Yep.
But now they can't do that. Now you just drop them at your feet. They changed it a while ago about that, tried to put it more in line. Now we've seen more of Legends, Pokemon Legends ZA, which is the next Pokemon game.
Right.
And in it, they showed a lot of trailers where they specifically have it where you have pals that you like double jump and like float with them. And then in Legends Arceus, there was one of the Pokemon that you could like use as a glider because that was their whole mechanic.
Right.
Now Nintendo's cracking down on Palworld for allowing you to use their pals as gliders.
Which is it as ridiculous as it sounds that you're able to copyright or claim that you own gliding with a friend.
And they're like, it's too similar to you using a Pokemon as a glider, but with a little handle on it. But now we don't want you to do that, so you can't use them as gliders anymore. So the most recent update for Palworld removed the ability to make your pals gliders, and they had to like readjust all the mechanics for all of them and change it to, instead of you using them as a glider, they make you glide better and having to try to tweak it as best they can, so that way they
Right.
deal with Nintendo's bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
And so for the most part, there's the obvious solution to this, which was modders have already added it back in. Modders have already added all these mechanics back in because they were like,
Cool.
we understand. Don't worry, we got this.
We got this.
We got this.
Yeah, we got this. No, we removed it anyways.
Yeah. So they removed it,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of talking that there are some issues where people are very worried with Nintendo doing this.
Yes.
Because as we've already seen, Nintendo likes to set precedents where
Mhm.
these other companies will immediately jump on and go, we're doing this now.
Right.
With the $80 games. You've already seen it. Oh, and
Correct. Yeah.
prices over other
Mhm.
consoles.
Yep. Everything's going up.
So one of the things that
I
is
think-
really interesting is that
Mhm.
Nintendo has 2,000 US patents. These only have 2,000, and they're still using their 2,000 to bully Power to change their stuff.
Yep.
Sony has 47,000 patents, and Microsoft has 53,000 patents.
Oh my god. Oof.
So, if these lawsuits work for Nintendo, which it doesn't seem like they are, mostly because Palworld are specifically adjusting to not worry about the
Mhm.
lawsuits actually going through,
Mhm.
and while still gathering evidence to try to argue against it.
Right.
If this lawsuit goes through the way Nintendo wants,
Yeah.
game is going to be really litigious going forward.
Yes.
Sony's going to be like, actually, that's way too close to a game that we had on the PlayStation 1. We patent that, so you can't do that anymore. Pay us money or change it.
God, yeah. Yeah, they're just gonna
Pay
start
us
going.
money or change it.
Gonna go after. Yeah, they're gonna go after different things. Gonna lock different things down. It's bad. Yeah. Yep. Oh god.
And it's super frustrating to see them have. It's good that Power is able to pivot and change things when they need to try to make it as
Mhm.
keep their game going, because
Right.
it's been out for over a year now, which is crazy.
Mhm. Right.
To think about it. And they've still been adding a lot of stuff to it
Mhm.
over that year, as well as dealing with Nintendo.
Mhm. Yep. As Nintendo just tries to bleed them dry of cash and capital
Yeah.
and time, mostly
Exactly.
time.
Exactly, by trying to force them to keep changing their game to match
Yep.
what they want it to be.
Yeah, which they're just going to hurt. Which Nintendo is just hurting themselves at it too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes and no. The biggest issue is that Nintendo is the worst brand to do all of this shit
Yeah.
because of the sycophantic fans of Nintendo.
No, I was just going to say like it because once they get it to litigate it to a point where they can't either lawsuits are settled, right? And you've got your dev team that's just been dealing with this thing and just writing code, and the fan base keep going. Palworld 2 is easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, Palworld isn't even fully out yet. So.
Right. I'm just saying, like, by the time they get this all said and done, 10 years, Palworld 2 is easy. That's an easy clap.
Let's drop a new one around all the bullshit they've already done.
Yep. Yeah.
But, I mean, any of the negative feedback that comes with this gets swept under the rug because people... It's a issue of optics.
Yeah.
Because when Palworld came out, people called it Pokemon with guns.
Mhm.
And they harped on it being this violent thing, and the marketing for it, which was a meme, which is true what it is, but the way they marketed it was really fucked up with them putting the pals in sweatshops.
Yes, yeah.
Which is not their best decision on how to promote their game. It was interesting. Controversy. People played it.
Controversy. Yeah. Got me intentionally what the heck this game is. Yeah.
But you know, as the game is, it just makes sense because you're basically using them as workers.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if these were fantasy characters on
Mhm.
your instead of it being pals,
Mhm.
people wouldn't care.
Right. Yeah. And uh, yeah, and the game is completely different. You eat pals. You don't eat
Yeah,
Pokemon.
that's true.
Yeah. Everyone sometimes suggests, lives on for some sort of magic food.
Puffin,
Yeah. Puffins,
puffins.
puffins, Um, and you work, you craft, you put like it's more Monster Hunter than anything else.
Right.
You know?
It definitely feels more like Ark
Yeah. Yes.
than Pokemon.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. On the surface, it is Pokemon. But when you start playing, like, no, this is a survival crafting game that has nothing
Yeah.
to do with this. It's just sort of like weapons. I've got monsters that I capture. That's about it.
Yeah, and they're we use them
It's
as addition to our weapons that we can already make.
correct. It's more unique and in its own game. And I really hate the US's patent and copyright system and DMCA laws as we have. Uh, it's ridiculous. Should be cleaned up. It's
Well, I mean, yeah, but
the idea that you could
oops.
copyright the idea of summoning something from a sphere cube or summoning somebody from something should be so like benign or like blasé in our culture. That's stupid that you
Right,
can copyright that.
right.
You know?
It's like, are they gonna sue Persona for in Persona 3? You summoned your creatures by
Yeah.
shooting yourself in the head with a gun. Does that count? Does that count?
Yep. I don't know. If can MLB sue Nintendo because of the home run derby aspect of the home run bat inside of Smash Bros? Technically, that's a home run derby. That's a home
I
run
mean,
derby.
yeah, you're not wrong.
That's a home run derby.
There's a lot of things that they like when you really break it down. That the moment you start opening those floodgates of what you can and can't
Yeah.
legislate,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, Nintendo only has 2,000.
Yeah.
Sony has 47,000.
Right.
Just waiting for Nintendo to go, hey, you know that platformer game there? You know that Mario game there? Too close to this game we made already. Get that out of here.
Yeah, get that crap out of here. Get that crap out of here.
Copyright. Get that out of here. I patented
Right. Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Or whatever junk. Like, oh, your store, the way you use your store, it's too close to mine. We did that 1st.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like Xbox. Oh, that camera, too much let that connect. Patent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, we don't know. It is like a Pandora's box, but hopefully it will usher into like a renaissance of companies not doing crap like this, being okay with other country, creating art, allowing our culture to flourish. But
I mean, yeah, but money though.
I know, right? Like the money. There's like the whole because like this whole $80 game thing. That was where I see the comments from what is that? Freaking not Naughty Dog. What is it now? Take-Two for Borderlands 4.
Oh God.
We don't know what we're gonna see. Look at the market.
We're gonna see where everything's at.
It's
Where
at.
it's gonna go from there.
Well,
Because
so
it might be the $80. It might not be. You just
maybe
never
not.
know.
We don't know. So Borderlands $80.
Yeah.
Borderlands.
It's like game of the year, $50 came out on sale. Fuck off.
Yeah. It's like, bro, I can wait. I can wait. I got
yeah.
so many other games. I can wait. I can go play No Man's Sky for the first time. I can wait.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest issue that I think these companies are too up their own asses about.
Mhm.
That there are too many games out now.
Yeah.
That
Way too many.
That's waiting to pay $80 for a game is ridiculous.
Yeah. Spawning 20 years of gaming, right? 20 plus years of gaming. And the idea of I think I dropped like a bad boomer hot take to Nice on a call one time. And I said, like, of course, these $80 games might make these young kids get to work. Okay. All right. Because not many parents are going to drop $80 on a game. So hopefully, one of them will.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but yeah,
it's already bad enough when you have like the new Doom game just came out, right?
Yeah,
or is coming out. in 2 days at
Mhm.
$70. And people are like, "This game is amazing," but that's $70 already. And I was
Yeah.
like, "All right, so you're telling me that whatever game you release
Mhm.
has to be better than this new Doom game that I've seen people consider the best Doom game, and people love the original Doom remake and Doom Eternal."
Right. So.
So the justification there
Mhm.
to go, we want more. The only
Mhm.
people in my brain I can give the pass to is people that can write that shit off on their taxes.
Yeah.
If I'm writing that shit off, fucking, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting reimbursed for this. So
Yeah.
this
To
is a
me,
business expense.
yeah. To me, $80 is a heavy lift for game for like a game because I don't know, maybe because like I'm more of an adult. There's other things I can spend $80 on
Right, exactly.
that I can go do.
Let me look at this.
Like I'm just saying $80 is a lot of meat at our favorite Korean barbecue joint.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
well, give me the, granted, like that much playthrough with that, it's really just 2 hours worth of fun. But at least I'm full.
Yeah, you're full.
You know?
You've spent the time. You've had the experience of being with other people. I'll put it this way, right? I
Yeah.
just pulled up my Steam while we're looking at this. I've paid out of my own actual money
Mhm.
$0 on Marvel Rivals. I have
Nice.
127 hours in that game for $0.
Nice. Honestly, like Marvel Rivals is stuff I would, man, I could $80 with the skin seems like more fun time.
There's a lot of fucking skins.
Because I don't know. I think honestly, if I put in more time, like into Marvel Rivals, I would probably because I think dropped over $100 in Paladins over the years.
Right.
You know,
And think how many hours you put into Paladin.
right? Exactly. Just like I'm not dropping any money into Wild Assault because it's still in early access. Like
Right.
giving money to early access games. And this is another game that's out that I want to drop money into because I'm captured by it because what it is, it's a spiritual successor to S4 League.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in an alpha state right now. And like, you could pay to get in. Like, I'm not paying to get no alpha. I
It's
really
an alpha? No.
Yeah. Right.
Beta. I'm in.
But pay to get an alpha? I'm good. I really want this game. I fully support you guys. We'll buy once I see once I get my hands on a finished some sort of close to finished product. But yeah. But no. But those like I guess all right, so like but the free to play, like that business model is like, hey, we have fun and then we just dump money into it that we want, or some people don't dump money into it, because
Right.
but it eventually will see a skin that they like. You know what? I'm gonna put $5. I want the skin.
Let me do this.
But like I think the other thing is like $80 for a game to me is also a heavy lift, especially with all the review embargoes that they do, right? You can't talk about the game till launch, right? And no, we're not giving out the review copies, right? It's like $80. You better be proud about this game. I need, I need all my reviewers that I listen to, like Co-op Cowboys and Angry Joe and the rest, to have this thing for months. So by the time this thing launches, they've got a massive review telling me it's amazing and I should pre-order, right?
Right.
But it ain't gonna be that way. You've played too many, like they've played too many games with the $50 and $60 games about that crap. There's several different cool, vampire games that they launched last year.
Right.
They're trying to tell us $80, dude, just and try to get, and they're bad at getting a review. Well, you played it. This game is trash. I put 30 minutes in this game. Sorry. Feels bad.
Let's do some comparison here, right? I have put in 157 hours on Vampire Survivors.
Nice.
Vampire Survivors base game is $4.99. With all of the DLC that's come out since the game has been released. That's not counting all the free DLC that they put into the game and all the additions. It's like an extra $20, if that. And the most expensive one is $4.99 for a Castlevania expansion, which try to put basically every Castlevania boss into the game and pulled characters from every single Castlevania game and put as playable characters to the point where they doubled the roster of playable characters for $3.99.
Yes. Yes.
So a game that's gonna last me 30 hours
Hmm.
for $80? Fuck off. I'll wait.
It better be. I wait, or it better be really, really good, like Baldur's Gate 3 good. Okay,
Right.
right.
Right. And like,
Because if not, dude, I got schedule 1 right there.
yeah, there's so many other games that I
Other
could
ones.
spend a bunch of time and effort into that just exist out there. And that's not
Right.
mentioning the games you already put time into that are still getting updated that you just want to go back and play,
Right.
or games that just exist in this world of, oh, this is an old game I never got a chance to play.
Right,
And
exactly.
I just have it, and they re-released it or did something, an update of it. The reason I don't have Star Ocean Second Story R, which is a remake of Star Ocean, is that I do not have the fucking time.
Is that your retirement game?
Because that game has 2 playable main characters.
Mhm.
Both main characters have their own unique roster of recruitable characters.
Mhm.
And there are some characters that if you recruit one, you can't recruit another. So you have like what? At least 3 playthroughs with each character to get all the characters at minimum.
Yes.
So that's 6 playthroughs of a JRPG.
Of a very old JRPG
that they remade to like enhance the graphics and make it look beautiful.
Okay.
And
Nice.
did all that.
Nice.
That's why it's like I don't have the time for that right now. I don't have the 500 hours to drop into this JRPG. Yeah. But if I was going to spend the money, I would spend the $30 or $40 to get that, and then I'll be on my way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I wish the whole Half-Life episodic, smaller, shorter games would have been the future, or like the DLC, instead of just being like cool skins or please give us more money, would have been like, no. This is kind of like extra levels, or like this is like a mini game, based off the same engine on it. And it wasn't like that, hasn't it? It's been like that for a long time. And it's just,
yeah,
been awful. But
well, what you didn't like that one of the Dead or Alive games? The base game was $60, and all the DLC was over 1,000.
It's awful.
And most of it were all skins.
Oof. Well, like it's terrible. All right, you want to wrap up the anything else you want to say about Palworld before we switch on?
Sure. Palworld is a fun game, and I'm glad they're able to continue to work on this despite all of these kind of bogus lawsuits. This a lot of bogus patent stuff, because it's really apples and oranges for some of what they're trying to argue. Like, if you see the footage of you flying in Arceus, literally the POW has like a little metal rack that you hold on to to fly. And in Palworld, you usually like grab like their arms or legs and fly with the Pokemon or the POW. Yeah, you just helps you glide through. And they already put the glider in the game. If anything, it should have been them using a patent for Zelda instead of Pokemon.
I know.
Because I would at least accepted that.
Yeah. But like that's a mechanic. Like how you gonna patent gliding?
Right.
Making it a glider,
It's like, well, it's gliding and you have a stamina system. It's like, whatever. But it's fine. We can just Nintendo.
It's like patent jump.
Yeah.
At that point.
I patent the X button.
Yeah.
Well, I patent the X button to do an attack. What? Yeah. Anytime you press the X button to do an attack, you pay me 5 cents.
I patent combos and fatalities. Can't be finishing people here. Okay. Can't finish people.
I patent special moves. I patent movement inputs. That fireball forward. Pay me for that. Sorry.
Yeah, you paid me for that. Bring out. That's me. Yeah.
That's my patent.
I know, God, it's just how bad some of the stuff is. God, awful, awful.
But staying with Nintendo,
hmm
Nintendo
hmm
has decided to update their EULA
Well, that's
in
fun.
order to
More freedom.
state that
Ooh.
they can brick your console.
Okay, what? What's that about?
So in their EULA update, they basically made it so that anything that you do to your Switch
Mhm.
that isn't standard of what they would normally do,
Mhm.
any modification or anything to your Switch, they consider that you're breaking your EULA, and they can suspend your account and even brick your console.
So, like, if I decide to, you know, open up my Switch up, you know, mess with it, pull off the ROMs because I want to back up my games
Mm-hmm.
that I purchased, and if they detect that this thing has been opened, they'll just brick me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
Without warning. Without warning.
Oh,
At their discretion.
oh, fun!
In our sole discretion and without prior notice to you.
Mm. Oof, oof. That is
So they now have the option, if you want to do any modifications to your Switch, like let's say you want to add more memory.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a modification. Bricked. Fuck off.
Brick, brick. Oh, the add-on piece, bricked.
Bricked.
Storage,
You change anything? Bricked.
just brick it.
Because we think that's you're violating our things. You're
Mm-hmm.
installing unauthorized copies of Nintendo account services.
Oh my goodness! What if I just want to use an alternate, like a store instead of the Nintendo store?
For the games on the console? No.
Yeah, yeah. Brick. Oh, that's also brick. Okay. What if the Nintendo store, or let's say the Wii store, is gone, and because it's like 10 years in the future, will they still brick me?
Well, I mean, yeah, because you're not using a licensed version of a thing. So, you think you can use a modded version of the console to play something that doesn't exist anymore? How dare you? And it's really weird, right? So the verbiage that they have here is restricting the right to modify, adapt, translate, reverse engineer, decompile, or disassemble all or any portion of the Nintendo account access services.
Mm. So it sounds like they made sure that if people or modders, the modding community, something like that, try to reverse engineer the technology, it has things that detect that has happened and will send that machine to go get bricked to stop the mods from happening. Because it was that whole thing, like you needed like that first gen unupdated one to like really start backing up Switch ROMs and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, because why would you want to own the things that you buy?
Yeah. So yeah. This is just a lease. Fleece.
Right. It's even crazier. It's like if you, that's the wording of like if you translate it, they're like fuck off, bricked. Like that's in English, now it's Spanish, bricked.
I know.
Fuck
Think
off.
about like the fan translations, just translations we had to
Right.
get from other games from the Japanese titles. Back in the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, even now there are Japanese exclusive games that we don't.
Yep.
We only get ROM versions of.
Correct. Even now, yeah. Wasn't it the Switch 2? They're going to have a Japanese version and an American version now. If you brought the Japanese version to the United States, the Switch 2, there's a Japanese version. Brought that to the US, is that modern? Because it technically took it out of its zone.
Right. Yeah. It's so frustrating, and it's interesting to see. Like, this is why I feel like emulation is what it is now. Because imagine if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff was an option a while ago.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the other things that we would have now.
Right. Like imagine if like the games that were on the SNES,
mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, no, you can't do anything. Like, if you have those cartridges and you do anything in those cartridges, blank the cartridge. Fuck off.
Yep. All
Imagine
of
the
it's just
Game Shark.
oof.
The Game
Oh
Shark.
yeah, the Game Shark. Oh my goodness, yeah. For a port that they left open and on the machine that they used for debugging, that they could have took the header off, but they didn't.
Right. But it's like, oh, you do that? Nah.
Yep.
That game, gone. We erased it. Snapped.
Yep. Snap.
Reduced to
Snap.
ashes.
Never to be used again. The
Yeah.
power button, nothing. Straight to garbage.
Right.
Was creating e-waste, one here, watch this at a time.
Right. Imagine it feels like there's a lot of things they could have easily done. Like, imagine with the PlayStation, right? The
Mhm.
original PlayStation, the discs also were able to be played as CDs.
Yes.
And there's an Easter egg in Symphony of the Night
Mhm.
that if you put the disc of Symphony of the Night into the game,
Mhm.
into the console, and go to the audio tracks and skip the first track, because the
Yeah.
first track has all the game data in it.
Mhm.
The voice actor for Alucard like recorded a whole thing, like a whole like dialogue that's an Easter egg on the disc
That's awesome.
that you would have to, and I think it plays like some soundtrack stuff as well, but it's just on the disc. Now imagine if you went to play it as a CD, it's like that's not how it's supposed to be. You accidentally press the first thing with the game data on it,
Mhm.
disc gone, wiped.
Oof, gross. Yeah.
It's just like, cool, ruin the thing that we like.
Mhm. Yeah. Ruin the fun, ruin the cool thing that we had because corporate reasons.
And it's also crazy to think that modding saved a bunch of their games.
Yeah.
When Brawl came out,
Mhm.
Smash Brothers Brawl came out, it wasn't very good. People didn't like Brawl on the Wii.
Yeah.
Then people made Project M,
Mm.
which made Brawl more like Melee. And
Nice.
it had this massive competitive scene for Project M that was more popular than Brawl itself.
Hmm.
So this massive mod fixed it,
Mhm.
like changed the game to this point where it gave longevity to a game that was basically dead on arrival.
Yep.
I mean, just
Well, I think the main thing I'm more worried about is the same thing we said in the first segment was the precedent that Nintendo sets. I'm huge. I'm famously known to the guy on the soapbox for the PlayStation 3 other OS thing, and try to in the class action suit. Like it's like it's got it right here, and I still haven't updated it. I got my money. I could go out and get another PS3. I thought about it, but like no, I love my big,
I like being able to put other OSs on it.
Yeah. Okay. I love being able to control the thing that I have, and I had the ability to do the Linux thing on my PS2, right? It's what are we gonna do? Like, so like if as this goes through, are Microsoft and Sony gonna follow the exact same path? And then
Right.
it's like, oh, modify this. You've done this to the PlayStation, and which Microsoft and Sony are famous for having games that are just completely bricked, or you can't work, or they're not bringing back up. You can't get your hands on them again.
Right. They're delisted or removed
Mhm.
entirely.
Yeah,
You
and
can't mess with.
right, and they're locked to consoles, and like Nintendo, at least a lot of their games, at least before the Switch 2, were all on the ROMs. You could get to the whole game. A lot of the PlayStation 3, 4, and 5 games, like no, you've got to go pull it download. This thing don't work with the interconnection.
Right.
They're able to
Like,
lock
there's like a
that.
day one patch attached
Yep.
to it.
Yep. So it's
It's concerning.
it's very concerning.
Well, also it further proves that even if you spend the money on the console, you don't own everything on the console.
Exactly.
Especially if you're ROMs, you have to download them. So what's the point of buying a console with a cartridge that you can't do anything with?
Yep. So that's a point. Another point for the Stream Deck. Another point for PC Gaming Master Race. The frames are moving at a faster pace. So it's just just because like we do feel like we own our hardware. Granted, Microsoft has made it feel like we really don't own our software anymore. Which is like we got bullied into Windows 10, like it, and then it's like, well, now accepted. Now you've accepted it's good to Windows 11. It's just like, man, I don't know. Like it took me a while to make the Windows 10 jump, and and like Windows 11, it's like I don't know, man. Linux gaming's not that bad. I've got my Linux box out here. I've been gaming on it. I've been enjoying it, and I don't know if I'm going 11.
Yeah, or you can sit on 10 and play all the games that have come out before Windows 11 came out.
That's true too.
Play everything. There's so many games that exist that you don't need it.
Correct. Yeah, I just you know what? I'm gonna stop going online. Just like go back to 7 and just like fine. I'm fine with having an offline gaming experience. I don't care. Or we've already proved that you guys can like VPN and we can land a lot of the games. Those are a lot of fun.
Absolutely, you can just jump on somebody else's thing and go from there. I mean, it's just there's a lot of options that people don't think about, and it also feels like what happens when those consoles are dead.
Yes.
What happens then, right?
Right.
So there are people who've been trying to recreate PictoChat, which PictoChat was was for the DS. And it was an app on the DS where you would like draw and communicate. And basically people made like a whole, like really enjoyed using PictoChat, all the boards and all this stuff.
Yeah.
There are people online that have been trying to recreate PictoChat and to allow you to use it on your DS.
Nice.
Because they cared so much about this thing. Yep. There's always this niche community that loves something to the point where they want to make it work.
Yep. Which was a lot of fun back when that was out new, going to like anime conventions and popping that open and just talking to people that have popped up and open, like who had it open.
Right. It's like you just write a message and see what happens. Communicate and make new friends or have a group of people for that, or somebody you just message while you're there.
Yeah, I did get dissed and called like, look at this old man at the bar on PictoChat. I'm like, screw you. Yeah.
How dare
you? Which really hurt because I was 28 at the time.
My soul.
My soul.
I bet they don't even know who Black Butler is.
Forget kids. Anyways.
But yeah, it also always comes back to, I feel like emulation as gaming preservation is so massive that it's basically what half of these systems even have, right? The Nintendo Classic Play stuff on the Switch is just emulation of their own games.
Right.
They're emulating their old games that are old enough that I could probably Google I could probably Google on Mario Brothers and play a version of Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And be good from there. And I could play the entire fucking game of Mario Brothers. There are people who play the original version of Mario Brothers still because they're trying to speedrun it.
Yep. Try to find that out. Like the whole backwards thing. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Finding weird things like, look.
On accident. Yeah.
I found.
Yeah, it's just like people are playing. Like, there are a bunch of old games that are still around that people just enjoy in whatever way they can.
Right.
And that's why I kind of feel so blasé and annoyed by the $80 price jump. Because it's like, you do realize there's all these other games that I could easily go back and play that's just there that aren't $80.
Which is another reason why they keep putting live service games so they can control and turn things on and off.
Right.
I think it does like gives more service to like, I don't know, it's like, almost like every time I see an $80 game and I buy a $20 game on GOG, You know, it's like screw you guys. I'll just buy another DR. I don't care. I'm just gonna buy a $20 GOG game and just keep stepping.
Yeah, I'll buy another game of somebody who could use the money.
Right? Yeah. You know.
I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
this indie game that I've never heard of.
Right.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy 5 people. Schedule 1. Okay. You know, I'm not gonna do that. I don't have that kind of. I don't have that kind of FU cash. Wish I did.
Not right now.
If I did,
Right
you know.
We'll be streaming Schedule 1. I don't even know what I'm doing, man. But
gotta bake it, smash it.
But yeah, it's these EULA changes are always very weird and kind of annoying because you even have stuff like the Oblivion remake. The EULA says you can't mod the game.
Yeah.
Fucking Oblivion.
It's Oblivion.
the game that is born of mods. Hell, the Oblivion remake only really happened because somebody modded Skyrim to be like Oblivion.
Yep. Yeah. It's the you could tell like because a lot of the companies are scared of the modders because it's like, well, they won't buy our DLC or crappy DLC because the mods are they can just get it as a mod, which I can kind of get, but make your official license content better,
right?
You know, and if it's a solo offline experience, then what's your problem? You know,
right? Let me mod Legend of Zelda if I want to.
Right, but that's not the reason why they go into these live service games. So you can't have that content. They can shut the servers down when they want to. They push you on the new thing, and I think a lot of these games, which looked like it's like EA is finally waking up and like they can't keep releasing the same product. The football players are finally waking up and like, holy crap, this is the same game. Same game.
They're only doing that because they released college football, which was better than Madden, and people were like, "Oh shit, this game was better than Madden. I'll just play this instead." And that's really the only reason why.
Yeah, but they keep buying the same game, and I think when that becomes an $80 game, you know,
they're still gonna buy it.
They're still gonna buy it, and people are gonna still pre-order their $800 Switches and stuff like the Switch 2. Yeah, which is you can't do you. Yeah. The people, the majority of the world, like all those people that say like the fandom menace, the fans are awful. They do all these things. Like people complain, you know, or talk about like, they really care about the product, but there's still no match for the wave of normal,
casuals.
The casuals, care. The people, don't care, didn't watch an article, stuff like that. Like, you know, I dislike, you know, like the Harry Potter series and people talk about it, but like I also realize like a lot of people have no idea what's going on. Right.
Yeah, or they don't care, or they haven't.
Or they either don't care or they never thought about it, right? But like, you know, it's like, and I'm just gonna rain on their parade. It's like probably not right now, but I will eventually.
No, but Harry Potter is also kind of not as big right now. It's still big, but it's like it's slowly lowered its influence on the zeitgeist right now.
Thank goodness.
Because let's be honest, it's what has happened is that the large fandom. For Harry Potter, a lot of it being their female fan base, moved on to the what is it?
Shadow daddies.
Yeah, what is it? The Court of Feathers or whatever the fuck it's called.
Which is in I'm 2 audiobooks from that hitting my playlist, and I'm just like, I'm gonna make this. It's like I finally I sat there like, I'm gonna stop listening at 1.5 speed and go down to 1. Let's just go slowly book down. I'm like,
Is it I'm gonna listen to this. Oh no. It's like the fan bases have all shifted and spread out more because there's no it doesn't feel like there's one thing anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Harry Potter was a thing. It was a massive culturally influential situation that just kind of popped into existence and made itself known.
Yeah, well, a lot of it was because it was like thrusted upon a lot of kids too, because of the Scholastic book fairs and like, hey, we need someone like to read and stuff like that, you know.
Right, and then on the flip side of that, you also had like the rise of a lot of the Marvel stuff, which we're still seeing now, but that's kind of what has happened. The Marvel was forced, like it built itself on reputation into being a part of the zeitgeist, and now it's just kind of coasting on its laurels, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then even the things you would think would be the massive cultural touchstones were coasting on their laurels. You know,
hmm
the fact that A New Hope and The Force Awakens
Yep.
are used as shorthand
hmm
for movies that are basically the exact same thing. I
Yeah.
literally saw somebody say that Moana 2
hmm
is the the um the new The Force Awakens to Moana's A New Hope.
Oh wow.
That's how that's like the cultural touch of how much these are similar and
Mm.
how they connect with each other that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
I
is
I will give the. So like the thing is like when I go back when I watched The Force Awakens, right? Like I gave it a lot of passive like, well, you're trying to jumpstart the series, right? You got a new writer like scared writer for a Star Wars series, so you just don't want to rock the boat too much, and then they kind of threw that all through that premise in there, and just decided like, hey, how bad could we write this for get people to keep going? Which sucks because Andor is so good, and I'm tired of people like, look how good Andor is.
yes,
Told
because
you stop.
the Andor they pulled a different director that has no connection with any of this stuff, who went out of his way who's openly said that he pulled up Wikipedia
Mhm.
and looked through Wikipedia as he was writing Andor. So yes,
Right.
he does care.
Yeah.
So you have one show.
Yeah, and it does show it like, and I'm sick and tired of people trying to show me that show and then go like, see, look at Ahsoka. Whoa! Don't you put the Caesars?
Whoa! It's like that'd be like, look at the the
I say,
acolyte.
oh God, no! I forgot about
No.
that show.
I didn't. I will never forget about that
God,
travesty.
man, it's so awful, and it, like it doesn't have to be because and then I think like the whole B, but like what I hate is like people blame the fans for this because like the fans don't have any power to do just about anything. All they have is their voice to talk about it, just like we are. We can our only power is to talk about it and discuss things and get a conversation moving. At the end of the day, the people who own the copyrights to it, the only people who have the money, the people by the studio have all the power. All we can do is really talk. It is never our fault that the content they produce is that we don't like it. We are right to not like something. We're right to like something, and we can give our feedback. We are fans, Don't let anyone like, hey, if you don't like something, don't just say that you don't like it, right? And I have words for why you don't like it.
Right. You explain the issue. Like the whole thing about the last episode of us talking about Thunderbolts in the beginning of this episode of us talking about John Walker is because we saw the issue and we're complaining about what they're doing.
Correct. Yeah.
It's to the point where they admit that they're no longer making MCU TV shows going forward. Like that, like after the slate they already have, they're just not going to make TV shows anymore.
Yeah.
Because they realize how unconducive to the narrative that is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And a lot of the things that they just kind of like broke, like I don't know, like, because like my Hawkeye shot, right? Because I didn't get what I wanted. But the other thing, like looking back on it now, like it's kind of stupid. Like I love some of the explanation of some of the Trick Arrow stuff, but it's a lot of things in context is like, wait a minute. You have PIM particles and you're shooting them around with arrows. You're just leaving them places, shrinking things, making things larger. Why? Yeah, why? Like, if you're willing to use technology, drop the bow and arrow.
But I'm really good with the bow and arrow, though. It's my thing. It's my thing. I'm really good with bow and arrow, though. I suck with everything else. I'm really good with bow and arrow.
Yeah, it would have been like, but I don't also see like them Frank Pym giving him the particles to do this with the arrows. I could see him like, no, here's a pocket dimension that just you keep making arrows. You have arrows come out.
Right. It's like I would get it in a different version. Where they've been friends for a long time,
right? Yeah, yes.
Like in the comics or in the TV shows, that would totally make sense.
Totally makes sense when he has that,
right? But it doesn't now. It's like
right,
like this isn't the same Hank Pym
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The guy who made Ultron is like, this isn't the wife beating.
You know, they could like give like the season. They could have had like Hawkeye at Wakanda win an archery contest to give him one vibranium arrow, right? And he's with a big saying, "Do you know if you use, please call the Doge Mirage immediately if you use his arrow, so they can go pick up the arrow." Or like get contacts and boop, 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 he used the arrow. We gotta get it. Go pick it up. Go pick it up. Or there's always been one following him since he had the arrow, just waiting for him to fire it. And
No,
pick it up.
he has the pearl. He's the pearl. They have that. They existed.
Yep.
They exist.
Yep.
You can contact the Dormilage with the pearl. They just go,
It's true.
take this and the arrow.
Yeah, I fired the arrow. It's in a car. This freaking destroyed. It's all yours. Of course, the arrow will just come out.
Yeah, so I fired the arrow. I leveled a building.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Fine.
What
do you mean you leveled a building?
You weren't supposed to. This thing is just like you were supposed to use it. You're supposed to put it on a wall.
Kingpin was in the top floor. It was his base of operations, so I took care of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the I don't know.
But fandom is a whole other thing. Is that if somebody's a fan of something and they care about it, they're going to have opinions on it. And it's okay to have differing opinions on these things, but it's as long as you can articulate your opinion and go, this is good because this, or this is bad because this. It's different.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. Other than I don't like it because girl, you know.
Right. Like those people that are like, oh, it's just terrible because they're replacing all the male characters with women characters. Like, no. I don't care about that.
I don't care about that.
Like I wouldn't have cared in the Thunderbolts if you know the fucking two female characters were shitting on anybody but John Walker for being a criminal when they've murdered people way more than he has.
Yeah, the whole room of them
everybody else
murderers and criminals.
Way more people than he has because
way more, have been the opposite side of the law, way more, have worked for other agent states that have threatened to destroy the whole world. Okay?
Perfectly fine.
Oh, he's the asshole.
Somebody else, right?
Yeah.
But like that's perfectly fine with me. If they make these characters interesting and competent, I tend to enjoy them because that's all that matters. Is that if you write the story and personally I feel like it's connected with everything else, you've gone out of your way to try to make things work, I enjoy it more. Even if, and then when you look at the bad versions of this stuff, people will point at, you know, the new Captain America movie. It's like, oh, it's bad because Falcon's black, and it's like, no, it's bad because they don't know what the fuck they're doing with this story. They spliced 4 movies together and try to let the Falcon do his getting real low big guy with the fucking president. His daughter's there in the movie. Fuck off.
Yeah, I just want to know how we have seen the vibranium shield go through metal walls that this guy without the super soldier serum or metal arm catches it without it dislocating his fucking arm. Ow.
It'd be even interesting if Bucky has to throw it with his metal arm.
Yeah,
that'd be a very interesting thing of going about it.
Yeah,
you would get the shield. We can only throw it and catch it with the metal arm.
Right, that's neat. That's awesome, right? And it does hurt him every time he catches with the wrong arm. Like wrong arm.
Right,
you know,
it's like I don't understand how Falcon works.
I don't get it either. I don't understand. Yeah. I don't want a Captain Falcon movie. I would have been happy with just a Falcon movie. You know, allow one of the first Black heroes just to have a movie of itself, other than like thrust upon this stupid title they put on him. Stupid. It's dumb.
And like. Well, we did that, and we also gave him a Hispanic sidekick, and we also introduced an Israeli Black Widow.
Yeah,
who's a mutant, but not a mutant, but is a mutant, but not a mutant.
I don't know.
Confirm what she is, but
yeah, which is goofy. Like I don't know. I think it would have been a better movie if they would have just had Falcon be the lead, and it would have been neat that Bucky became Captain America, but was second to Falcon. That would have been a better movie to me.
or if they just let him have a movie that's about him,
Right.
instead of it being like for Falcon and Winter Soldier, they hard coded it on race.
Yes.
Yeah, like a large portion of that movie is based on
TV
race.
show.
Yeah, TV show. Yeah, they have a lot of race based
Mhm.
things they talk about. They bring in the
You need to do
black
better.
super soldier.
Mhm.
They bring in the black super soldier that was tested on, and the government like disowned him basically.
Yeah.
And they introduce a character that in the comics would become the Patriot, but he's nowhere to be seen in this movie because fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And it made it all about Sam Wilson being black instead of him being a character.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And dealing with him being like the ethics and things he's dealing with while being a black hero, that's fine. But if you're gonna go, he can't get a loan because he's black, and then now he has the copyright for the Avengers,
right?
And he knows several people in the government, including Skrull Don Cheadle. Because he's a Skrull. He's a Skrull during that show. He's a Skrull that who he's close friends with in the movie. That they have several interactions with. He has ways to leverage what he needs to get what he wants.
Yeah. So, okay. The other thing with it, right? It would have been neater to say like he didn't get the loan because like, no, you're a superhero. You could die at any moment. What? I'm not giving someone a loan that could go off, fly off a mission and die. You're not getting a loan from me.
Right. I mean, way more interesting. It's like Iron Man is dead. Iron Man.
Yes.
Fuck off.
You don't even have a suit.
No.
You got stupid wings, bro.
Yes, it's like Iron Man is dead.
Which would have been cool if there's been like if they would have set something up also if they would just like this one bank is giving all these heroes loans, just giving us loans that turned up at the Kingpin the whole time. That would have been neat. That's neat.
That's connecting the universe, but
yeah. It's like I'm controlling all the heroes with debt. And then brought Doom in, right? As he buys the bank. For I am Doom.
The Baxter building belongs to I, Doom.
Doom. No, we have a loan for the bank. I am the bank now. I bought it from your benefactor.
So stupid. But yeah, no, it's. But yeah,
then allows. Then just allow Reed to live in the building, but shows up to do landlord inspections.
He shows up like, what's this experiment you're doing, Reed?
Can't be here, landlord. I can.
He's like, I own this building. I can be anywhere I want.
I know. The ultimate villain, Doom.
The only reason I would want that is because I just want the courtroom scene where they're trying to sue him to get out from that loan.
We get a job. We're gonna get a job. Gonna get a job. Reed, gonna get a job.
Yeah, it's just. But yeah, fandom. That while there are certain people in fandoms that can ruin the fandoms,
yes.
Right? That is a thing.
Yes, that does
there
happen.
Are some people that are hyper focused on one element of the fandom, and anything that doesn't follow what they believe can destroy it. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. That's why the Steven Universe fandom has such a bad rep. The My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has such a bad rep. That's why a lot of the people that are negative towards a large swath of the MCU movies towards the later half of it because they don't know how to articulate their opinions and then just go woman bad.
Yeah.
And instead of it being this character is not an interesting character,
right?
It's caused a lot of people to look at it in a different way.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, because if you go back and watch the earlier films, you realize like their actions have consequences, but they make sense. Like, yes, the governments of the world, like, yes, we need to have some rules,
right,
to govern these superheroes, right? But now, like,
right, the Sokovia Accords exist. They don't talk about them at all
anymore. They just allow them to just go around,
they just do shit,
right? Which would be better than they come in and like, no, we really need to lock this down, right? Also, like the international incident that Wakanda happens every 5 seconds. God, it's just man.
Like, how does the Sokovia Accords affect Atlantis?
Yeah.
How does it affect Namor?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
exists. He's there.
Yeah.
He's relevant. You know, the Atlanteans exist. But it's
Yeah. It had been. Oh man, it's just and She-Hulk could have been there litigating any of it. You know, can you imagine how many Asgardian bar fights they could have got into to litigated? It's like, or like boxing matches. It's just like, no, that guy is an Asgardian. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm not Asgardian. You know, I'm just a boxer. You know, bull crap.
just Asgardian bar fights. It's like he started it. What do you mean? He's an Asgardian. He starts all the bar fights every time.
All the ones. All the
She-Hulk did have the one Asgardian who ended up trying to pretend to be a judge at one point because she was shape-shifting.
Yeah,
which was hilarious. But
but and then that's like they're breaking the accords, you know, or She-Hulk doing stuff like you broke the accords. You can't. Yes, you can transform. We're not going to tell you, but you can't go off and fight crime and do all the other stuff like that with your powers.
But they did address that in the show, though. I mean, they ended up arresting her and everything else. So I mean, that was
right. This is great. Like,
at least touched on there.
Yeah,
I would also love if Valkyrie, the leader of Asgard, just had She-Hulk or Daredevil on speed dial because she's an alcoholic. Because we know she's an alcoholic. And she's like, "Hey, Jen,
or
it's Valkyrie again."
It's okay.
I just left.
There is that Valkyrie She-Hulk fanfic out there. I'll send it to you after the show.
Don't worry, I have it written.
Don't worry, he's been writing some himself. He knows.
Oh man, but it's the
it writes itself. You know.
Yeah, writes itself. It just writes itself. All of it does.
Well, She-Hulk did have a lot of relationships.
I mean, that's a character.
Well, it's She-Hulk. It's She-Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, She-Hulk banned the Juggernaut, so that's all that matters. I mean,
which you know, I mean, realistically, if you go back, that's kind of sexist. But I'm just saying.
I mean, but also Tony Stark is also a man slut, and we all agree that is a true statement.
He was until he, found his heart in Pepper, right?
Sure. That's not true at all. He just bangs floozies all the
time. To be fair, if I was Robert Downey Jr., I'd be.
I mean, we'll put it this way: that there are several different future versions of Tony Stark, where his kid is him and a different hero. Like there's one where he has a kid with the Wasp, like Janet. You know that there's plenty of options out there because that's just who he is.
Not mad at him. I guess not mad at him for that one.
Yeah, a little tiny bit off topic, but Jon Stewart was interviewing Paul Rudd. And they were talking about something, and Paul Rudd was getting into a place where he's like, I don't really have any friends to hang out with or something like that. It was funny because Jon Stewart gets up and goes over to him and stands next to him and goes, look at the camera. And they both look at the camera. He says, I want everybody to know this. He's older than I am. It's like,
Yeah, and the only time we've ever seen him age at all is that one Nintendo commercial.
Yeah, that's about it.
One Nintendo commercial was a callback, and he looks so old. He looks so old in that one commercial.
Right.
I think they made him look like that. I had to make him up to look like that.
It feels fake.
Because it just feels fake. Right. Yeah, because everything else doesn't look that way. Right. Yeah. Anyways, like it's just the lighting. They're like, we've got it. Yeah, the makeup. They put them in.
But like Rhinehold knows all about fandoms being ruined by outspoken fans. Half the Wheel of Time stuff, the people are arguing over a bunch of it until now.
They're still arguing about it. I had a guy in a one today who posted and says, "These are all the covers of the Wheel of Times books. Can you all see what the problem is here?" And thing is on the Wheel of Time books that were done by an artist that Robert Jordan really didn't have any control over.
Yeah.
The publishing company did, right? They're all white. So he's trying to make the case why are all these characters in the show not white? Why are they're doing this because of woke? I'm like, oh my.
Well,
You read the descriptions in the books, they talk about a whole different thing. It's like the Two Folk River people were mostly dark skinned, and it was just like he didn't say but he just said they were.
Yeah.
And the reason that Rand stuck out was because he was a white, red hair,
Seth's favorite.
tall.
Yep.
It's like, geez.
Yeah,
There's a whole section of them that are complaining about the casting and how they had too many diversity hires, and then there's a whole bigger group of book cloaks, is what they're called, who are upset because they changed this wording or did this thing wrong or included this or didn't include that, and they're not doing it right. They've ruined the story. And it's like, okay, guys,
Right.
you can't. There's never been a movie adaptation of a book that was completely in line with what the book does, because you can't do that. It's a different medium. You can't do the things that they do. You can't have somebody like Perrin who spends 8 books going through a bunch of inner turmoil that you don't see. He doesn't vocalize. How do you get that on the screen unless you have somebody narrating him all the time, which is boring, and nobody wants to see that.
Monologue.
So they find a way to make him obviously having, a much more obvious trauma than the internalized that he experiences. So they gave him a wife and a frigidator. I'm not sure I like that choice, but they did it, and it kind of works a little bit if they use it right. And we'll see if they do. He's coming out of it now, so they addressed it in the 3rd season. But I love the one person who says that they're upset that every time there's a good character on the show, they just kill them off. I'm like, you realize Game of Thrones was based off of this series, right?
Right. Even Game of Thrones, that
was inspired by the series.
Right. That fandom is massively divided and killed itself.
And then another person was like, I don't care if they could just finish the show off after 4th season, because all this is a basic hero picked out of time, against his, but he has to go and be he has to be the savior of the world, and we all know what's going to happen, and blah 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 blah. And all these people who have read the books are like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot that happens that you haven't seen yet. It does not go the way you think it's going to go.
It's not.
We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
That's the big thing about a lot of the fandoms, is when you have the right thing that people will care about, they will fight for it to the end. I mean, there are still people who are trying to defend the end of the Game of Thrones show.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of them that don't. There are so many people that hate it, but there are some people that are trying to defend it and coping out of their minds for it.
See, here's the problem with the games in the Game of Thrones. One is that it's probably very close. It's probably very close to what George R. R. Martin wants to do, but they've changed so much of the story, and people are like, "Oh, it's so true to the books." I'm like, they cut out so much, like Lady Stoneheart, all that stuff. Yeah, they cut all the magic stuff out, all the really cool stuff they cut out so far, in my opinion. But when they got off the reference material, there's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff that supports and maybe justifies some of the things that happen at the end of the show. But they didn't have that, and they wanted to rush through it. So they made the heel turn for that character so abrupt and stupid that it just threw the whole thing off.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
They could never recover from that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The glaring and
And what's really frustrating is that we still don't have the end of the book part. So we don't know how he was going to get there and justify it if he was. And I'm afraid he's like, they didn't like the ending, so I'm just not going to bother.
That, or he's been rewriting entire.
Or he's trying to figure out how can I get out? How can I get out of this?
Right, he's trying to rewrite entire books at this point.
That no one likes. No
Oh
one
shit!
likes.
We got.
He was saying
those
3 years ago that he had the next book pretty much written,
Mhm.
and he
And
had
then,
all of COVID to write. What the heck is going on, dude?
and the
Hey,
ending
hey,
happened, and
hey.
he had to rewrite like 3 books.
Elon Musk did say
What's-
he had self-driving from coast to coast already,
Yeah,
like 6 years
but
ago. Okay,
what's funny is I was watching. There's
People
a movie
lie.
that I desperately love. It's one of my favorite movies ever that gets no love
Mhm.
by you go watch reactors,
Yeah.
and maybe 3 people have reacted to this movie. But the people who have reacted to the movie love it just like I do because it's an incredibly well-written, well-acted movie.
Mhm.
It was Will Ferrell's first serious role, which people weren't expecting and didn't want at the time. So a lot of people just blew it off because it was what they got in there and he's like, "This isn't funny," and they walked out and didn't see the whole, So. But in that book, I was watching Cinnabins react to it because it's like one of my favorite reactors. They were going to react to it. I was like, oh my god, I was so excited about it, and I knew that they would love it, and they did. But in part of the movie, there's a writer, and she gets assigned somebody to help her. She goes, "I'm an author's assistant. I've helped 12 authors finish 22 books, or whatever." And then the guy speaks up and says, "Can you go visit George R.R. Martin and help him out?" He needs somebody like that to sit on him, like they were doing her.
To get more in depth about this particular movie, go back and watch our 3x3s from last year, or / the year before that.
Did I talk about
that?
I did that. Okay, I didn't remember if I put that in my 3x3.
Yes, it
It's
is.
such a good movie. Oh my god, and it was funny because watching George react to it from Cinnabins, him and I have a lot of the same kind of sensibilities about stuff. And he was saying near the beginning, he was like, "This really feels like a Douglas Adams book. Like it feels like Douglas Adams in the very beginning of it, the way it was written." And I was like, that's actually pretty accurate. And so the graphics and stuff kind of feel like they come out of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the way they did it. I mean, I could see what he was saying there. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. I'm sorry, I just can't keep. I got to keep gushing, and I'm hoping that as more people like them, because they said that they're going to be advocates for the movie. Tell all their reactor friends, you got to watch this movie. So hopefully more people start reacting to it soon. So I did see Kevin and Joel react to it like a week later, and they loved it. It was just great. So and I like them. So.
Fun fact: our 3x3s were 2 years ago. Finished 2 years ago in 2023.
Oof. Oof.
I just went back and looked at the last one.
Oh yeah, that would do. Oof.
I was posting them in the Discord.
Yeah, released 6 months ago. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh man, we should probably eventually start having guests come on and doing a quick 3x3.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Or see if any of them has changed over time with the new things we've seen, or opinions on old things have changed.
I probably would sub out some of the Gundam. I'd probably add in that Puss in Boots movie. It's really good. If you haven't watched that new Puss in Boots movie, I recommend. Well, not that new now, but I recommend it. Really good.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
I might
redoing it, but you're only allowed to keep 3 things from the old list.
I might include the song "Hook" by Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
Maybe the best troll ever perpetrated on a fandom, I guess you'd say.
I was saying, Antonio Banderas said the Puss in Boots movie, you could tell he was having fun, and it actually was probably. And I hope he wanted to do another one. Okay, all right, because it was fun.
I mean, people really, really loved that one. And people thought that one was amazing.
Well, that was the thing about Puss in Boots. It was so tongue in cheek, but so real too. Like it would make fun of itself so meta in such meta ways, and you could tell Tony Meredith was wanting to do something like that. He was tired of being like whatever. He's like, let's have some fun.
Yeah,
just kind of like Bradley Cooper when he got Rocket, right?
Yeah,
he kills that character. He has such fun with it, and it comes across as real too because it's like the way it's done.
Oh yeah. You could probably tell he was, they had to calm him down. Listen, I know you just see those lines, but I am supposed to calm down. Stop singing the song.
We get it. We get it. Just dial it back by like 2 notches.
I
Two.
know.
Just
Need
two.
you to bring this down. All right. So on that bombshell, we like close this show out today before Christy keeps poking me on Facebook. Okay. All right. I've got it right here, refreshed. I hear the bong. You all hear the bong. And I know like someone has spoke to me. And they're going down. So I'm not gonna sit here and just take it. But no. So which thank you for listening to this. You can listen to anything else in the world, but decided to listen to this, and that I thank you. If you made it this far in the episode, you're a true key holder. So why don't you come watch us live on 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/we are the letter R libertarians or youtube.com/we are libertarians. Come hang out with us live. But I understand we push this out on the podcast network, and to the 350 plus of you guys who download us every week. Well, and now that Smarangle's got more of a cadence of getting this stuff out there, so it's coming out actually every week after we get recorded, which that's freaking awesome too. Of course, getting sick and stuff like that messes them up sometimes, but awesome. So just want to say thank you guys, thank you very much as we continue on this journey. So yeah, I'm gonna say goodbye everybody.
Rest in peace, Ebu.
Bye everybody.